NYU's Professor Jan Plass has given a lot of thought to designing online education.
Foundational courses, and it's important to think about those really specifically for foundational courses, introducing new concepts, introducing new ideas rather than practicing existing ones, is that we think of a unit, could be a week, could be longer, as having a pre-phase, preparation phase, a synchronous phase, and then a post phase. And in the preparation phase, you set up what is necessary to be then discussed synchronously, and in the post phase, you review and consolidate. So thinking about those as three separate steps allows us to think about learning objectives and how they can be met in each of these steps, and how progressively we can actually meet the learning objective fully, which often is not possible in just one step. So process-wise, we break, therefore, the learning experience down into those three phases. What this also allows us to do is, when we think about what students learn and how within each mode of learning and engagement, it helps us break those down by phases of the learning process. So let's look at the preparation phase first. So you're a learner who is about to discover or encounter a new topic, a new concept, a new theory, a new process, whatever it is that you're introducing in a particular week. So the question that we have to ask as part of our design process is, what does the learner need to get started on that? Well, one thing is I need to be motivated. So we start our preparation phase by providing a motivating element to the learner so they understand why it's even important for them to study this topic. This is especially important for adult learners who will question why they're supposed to learn something, but it's actually useful for anybody who is supposed to learn about a particular topic to know why they're doing that. So we're motivating the learner. And then we study foundations of this particular unit. What those look like will depend very much on the particular topic you've chosen, but the foundations would be certain concepts, certain definitions, some examples, and so on that would need to be introduced. Next, and in conjunction with learning the foundations, it's very useful to review some case examples and previous work that has been done. In other words, connecting those foundations to practical examples that others have developed, or that the student him or herself has developed. We don't just think of the preparation phase as a study phase where people are on their own. So we're also thinking about what questions should they post in discussion forums, what kind of class activities should they prepare for, etc. And then one would have to decide, as part of this, what are the artifacts that come out of that? What are the results of this preparation process? Are students preparing some group activity? Are students sending summaries to the instructor? Are they doing peer reviews? What are those collaborative activities that would come out of this first phase that then would enter the synchronous phase that would come next? Finally, what really would help an instructor coming out of the preparation phase is some form of a check of comprehension. Imagine students are working at home, working on their own, working in teams, and you as an instructor need to set up the synchronous phase. The information you need as input for that is, are there any problems students encountered? Were there topics they're especially interested in, or topics they're not so interested in? Did they actually comprehend the material? And so some checks for comprehension would be really useful. Those are not full-blown tests. They cannot be used for assessments, certainly not for summative assessments, in other words, grades. But they are very useful to inform the design of the second phase, which is the synchronous phase. So after students are prepared for the class, the actual class time will happen online. That could be, or should be, or would be mediated with video conferencing systems or other systems. And here, what our main goal is to really take advantage of that synchronous time, that precious time when we actually are all together and communicating and using technology to do so. It would be a total waste of that time to start rehashing definitions. You know, what is the meaning of X? Unless that came out of the preparation phase as a problem that nobody was able to address. So in other words, the idea of flipping the instruction, starting with the basic lower level type of concepts first in the preparation phase, so that in the synchronous phase they've already been discussed, perhaps even in a group discussion, chat, etc. So now we can go to the higher level thinking tasks. We can, together with the students, decide on what the activity goals are. So this could come out of the checks for comprehension from the preparation phase, but it could also happen in the synchronous phase together with the students. And then activities can be focused on enabling students to take multiple perspectives, making connections amongst different concepts, engage in what we call joint meaning making, shared meaning making, where students make meaning of the information together. That could happen, for instance, by analyzing examples. They could create or design mini projects in class where they solve problems, etc. And then they can communicate and present ideas to one another. So this is the phase where we do take advantage of the shared intelligence, the collective intelligence of the students in the classroom, and we design activities that are specifically important and useful when everybody is available synchronously. What are results coming out of this phase? There are notes that students are taking, there are the projects they worked on, and for those the instructor and peers can give feedback. So after the conclusion of the synchronous phase, the phase in which students see each other, talk to each other at the same time, many questions aren't resolved yet. Many questions are still worth exploring, still wrapping up, reflecting on things, and we call that the post phase, the phase that happens at the end of a intellectual unit, academic unit, in which we give students the opportunity to set their own processing goals. That can be in part done by the instructor, but in part done by the students. And here, again, higher level thinking would involve applying, evaluating, reflecting on what has been discussed, first in the preparation phase, then in the synchronous phase. Questions like, how can this be applied to real world problems? Is this one application that I'm seeing in a case example a good application of the principles or theories that we've learned in this module? Synthesizing thoughts on that in writing, perhaps finishing up your designer's journal, your annotated bibliography, putting something in your portfolio. All of those are post-learning, post-synchronous activities that a student can do on their own, or it could be done essentially in smaller groups. Now, a good design of a post-activity is to actually lead back into the pre-activity for the next unit, and then the cycle continues.